I always feel like a little bit of a faker when people ask me what kind of music I'm listening to, because I'm like, I don't know, a little bit of everything, I guess. And I actually do legitimately like lots of different kinds of music, but also I am not one of those kind of people that just puts on music at home unless I'm like specifically listening to something that like I'm gonna sit and listen and concentrate to for like a reason. Which then it makes me feel a bit like a fraudulent musician, but sometimes it's just nice to have quiet in your brain. I started playing both piano and trombone when I was in grade 7. I started playing trombone first, actually. It was really when I got to high school. I had just an excellent music teacher, and I got really into it. Before that, it was kind of a fun thing that, I did and my friends did, but I wasn't much into it. And then I got more serious throughout high school. My parents were super supportive, just because their kid was into a thing. When I was in high school, mostly I just played through school ensembles. So our band, which was pretty busy and did a bunch of school band things, like the school jazz band, and we had a brass quintet for a while. That was fun. A buddy of mine started like a little jazz combo. Yeah, especially as a kid, I guess the jazz stuff seemed cooler, partly because at least when I was in grade maybe 9 and 10, we had a trombone player come from Western, the university in London, to direct the swing band, and he was, I don't know, 22 and kind of cool, like. So yeah, the jazz stuff seemed really extra fun. So I started playing trombone, and then maybe in like grade 11, we needed a euphonium player in my band, in my school band. So I got to learn to play euphonium, but it always felt like trombone was like my real instrument, and I also liked doubling on euphonium. Oh, and actually in grade 12, I did this sort of project thing where like I taught myself how to play other instruments, with some help. So that was kind of nice, like just to like dabble in it. I never really thought I'd be a music teacher, but now I am, and that turned out to be really useful. So when people ask my husband and I how we met, one of us usually says that we saved the other one's life in battle, which is not true, but we did meet in the military, which is hilarious. We met playing in the Band of Ceremony Guard, which is, if you've ever been to Ottawa in the summer, they do exchanging of the guard ceremony, and it is a great summer job. The pay was good, and it was 100-ish musicians from across the country. Yeah, it was fun. So you do basic training first, and then they teach you to march and play, and it was great musicians, like so many good musicians, and so many of them that I played with at the time are professional musicians now. And actually, I feel like I'm sort of like the military suits me. Although I have some like fundamental problems with it. It suits me in temperament a little bit. Like weird and random gigs. Like we played for the Governor General like regularly, played at the Governor General's Performing Arts Awards, which was pretty cool. Played to open rugby games. I met the now King. It's like, is that right? Do I have the generations right? I mean, for like 10 seconds. My now husband and I moved to Yarmouth in 2010. I have family around. I was doing my education degree at the University of Toronto, and then you had another month at the end of the year they called an internship, where you could sort of do anything you wanted related to education. And I thought it would be fun having like practice taught at 2 big downtown Toronto schools. I was trying to think like what would be different from that. And you didn't even have to do it in a school, but I did want to do it in a school, and I thought, oh well, maybe if I could do it in like a rural Acadian school, maybe that would be kind of different. So we came down for a month, and then just before we left, I heard about a job opening and brought in my resume, did a phone interview, and then we came back for a job. So I was teaching in Barrington, and I was teaching in some ways just absolutely delightful little music classes of sort of 16-year-olds who were starting their instrument for the first time. So they were keen and fun, and it was just, we were all having a good time. My first little concert there, we didn't get our instruments until November. We were renting instruments, and And then we put together a Christmas concert featuring favorites like Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I think we played Jingle Bells, Concert was in the music room. We're like, we don't think there are going to be very many people coming. There were only, I don't remember, maybe 15 or 20 kids playing. And I had not met them until that point. Mark Palmer and Gordon Rothwell drove out in the winter out to Barrington just to come to this beginner band concert, which was just the sweetest, most supportive thing they possibly could have done. I think maybe Mark had just taken over for Gordon teaching at the junior high here at Maple Grove, and then now it's a little bit more than 10 years later, and Mark is retired and I've taken over for him, so that's kind of fun. Julie and I both played with the Fanfare in Clare, which is a great community band in Clare, super nice people, welcoming, fun. And one night, I ran into Gordon at the intermission of a concert, and he said that he was going away on a sort of several-month trip, and he had been to a few of my school band concerts in the meantime, and he asked me if I wanted to conduct the town band, and I was so thrilled I just about died. And at the time, I had never conducted anybody who had been playing more than 2 years, and I was like, let me think about that. But I was so excited. I just wanted to make sure that I could commit to that because it sounded very intimidating and scary, but also wonderful. So then I must have called him back the next day and been like, yes, I'm in. Yeah, so he lent me his band for a term. And then when he got back, he asked if I wanted to keep it, and I said yes. One funny thing about being a conductor, which I had maybe never thought about until someone pointed it out, is that you're the most responsible for the sound of the ensemble, but you're also the only person who doesn't make a sound. I don't know, there's a lot of different parts that I like. And the more I prepare, the more I feel like I'm not prepared enough. You can do infinitely much prep, it feels like. You can always know it better, you can always know everybody's individual parts better, you can always sort of make more nuanced artistic decisions about it. I like that prep work. And then in terms of, I'd say maybe the hardest part of being a conductor is that it's actually hard to you don't get very much explicit feedback. I guess you get feedback every time you do a thing. If you don't get what you want from the ensemble, then maybe you need to do it differently. But you have to really, people aren't telling me what to do, what to improve, how to improve. So you have to really search that out. And you can, but there are clinics, there are conducting symposiums, there's, videos and workbooks and all sorts of stuff. But you really do have to, if you want to get better, you really do have to search that out or ask people for comments or, videotape yourself or, and then there's the whole creating the ensemble culture and sort of trying to mold that ensemble culture to be what you're hoping for, which has so many aspects, and then trying to take everybody's strengths, whether it's musical strengths or sort of personality traits that really can benefit the ensemble, and try to get everybody rowing in the same direction, and it's all fun challenges, and try to take all 40, 50 individual people and make them into help them be one great big artistic thing together. These days I'm doing a lot more conducting than playing. In some ways they both feel very similar. I have a different role in it, conducting of course. I think if I could only do one for the rest of my life, I would probably choose conducting, but it would be hard. Because one thing that you can do playing that you can't do conducting is just get together with a few friends in your living room and play some Christmas tunes, that kind of thing. Anything that needs a conductor is by nature more formal and more organized. So, they're both great. So one thing that a friend of mine, Charlene Atkinson, and I started doing, just busking at Christmas time to raise money, usually for something kid related. When there was less music stuff going on with COVID, we have raised some money for the fuel fund in Yarmouth. Yeah, it just seems like a fun, positive thing to get some friends together to play. So we have fun, and then people going shopping, they can ignore us if they don't like it. But I think a lot of people just think it's jolly to hear some Christmas tunes while they're going to get their groceries, and then raise a little bit of money. Yeah, the last thing I did before COVID actually was I played in a women's wind ensemble in Halifax called the Glass Winds. That was so much fun, so many good players, and it was the weekend before everything shut down. We played a concert on International Women's Day at the New Halifax Library. That was great. COVID. So, like everybody else in the world, we sort of shut down suddenly in March of 2020. Every term, more or less, we were like, are we going to start up? Are we going to start? Oh, no, never mind. Oh, no. We took 2 years off. So spring of 2022, things were like looking better, but it was still sort of, things were just starting to open up. And especially something like that, like you need to have 40 people maybe unmasked because you can't play, except for percussionists, you can't play with masks on. So it's like a pretty big barrier to starting back up again. We had like a spring term first that first of all, we weren't gonna have a concert. I just thought it would be kind of stressful, and maybe we wouldn't be able to make the right decisions about like, should we cancel rehearsal if we had the pressure of a concert, and people might feel obliged to come if they maybe shouldn't be coming if they were feeling the pressure of getting a concert ready. So we thought we'd just take it sort of as a chance to like work on some stuff that we might not normally work on. So we did a bunch of sight reading. We sight read a few new tunes every night. We like did some more fundamentals work and worked more on some different like musicianship and technique stuff. We also did it in a cafeteria. We did it in the cafeteria at Maple Grove, the middle school where I teach now. All the chairs, everybody was 6 feet apart from everybody else, and we asked everybody to wear their masks, coming in, coming out at the break. We had like jacked all the windows open. Actually, one thing that I felt really good about was that on the first day, someone who hadn't really replied to let me know if she was coming or not came. She said, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this, but like I came and this seems safe to me, I'm going to stay and play. So we did that for a few months in the spring, and then once we started up again in the fall after that, we went back to sort of pretty much normal. And then we played a Christmas concert, and now we're getting ready for a spring concert. Probably my biggest musical influence in terms of, I guess, my own development as a musician, first of all, and then also sort of in terms of my like hopes for both the town band and sort of my school ensembles in terms of like welcoming everybody and bringing everybody up instead of worrying about people like pulling the ensemble down. My biggest sort of influence there was my high school teacher, Gary McCumber in London. Just like a fantastic clarinet player, fantastic musician, like great, wonderful teacher. He was a clarinet player, had a master's degree in conducting, is a clarinet player, had a master's degree in conducting, and my mom was chatting with him one time and said, he mentioned maybe that his father had played clarinet. She said, oh, he must have been a wonderful musician. Mr. McCumber said, oh no, I guess he was like terrible. But I think maybe that had sort of helped him. He'd seen his father just loving music and loving playing music, and like how much joy he got out of it and what a good influence it was in his life, even though he wasn't particularly good. Now I suspect he wasn't really terrible, but just that it, like, how good it can be is not closely tied to how good a player you are. Like, you're working to get better, but it's fine if you're not that good. It doesn't matter. And then, there's two other people who've been so supportive and great and fun to work with are Gordon Rothwell and Mark Palmer. And I feel like Gordon really... It was great. So when he loaned me and then gave me his band, and then he was still doing the orchestra, and we were still doing concerts together, and he was playing with the band, and he could, like, I could ask him all the time for like tips and hints and suggestions and what do you think about this, and also did an amazing job of never being like overly pushy or sort of forcing his tips on me. But when I asked him for them, like one little thing he said once about, he always tries to end with an easy piece so everyone can go home feeling good. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I try to do that too. And then, and Mark Palmer's just been so good to work with, and now he's doing the orchestra. And then also he was so supportive as I like took the middle school job that Gordon used to have and that he had, just so helpful and supportive and encouraging, and make me like feel really good and supported and nice. So my vision for the town band is that it's like a really like welcoming, positive thing that anybody can come to, and that we are working together to be the best that we can, but not to the point of excluding people. It's fine that there can be, audition ensembles. Like, I don't have a problem with that, but that's just not what I want our band to be. And we have so many great players who took 30 years off playing when their kids were small, or people who wouldn't necessarily have been able to show up and ace an audition, and they are making like such wonderful contributions. And also some people who will never be the best players in the band, but they're still like great contributors. They're fun, they're positive, they're just great influences. The strongest players can help pull everybody else along. It's not like the weakest players pull everybody down. That doesn't happen. It really helps that just people in the town band are just like great, positive people, so welcoming. They're welcoming to me right from the start. You see like a 12-year-old kid come, and then the person who's been in the band for 30 years, it's like, here, come on, sit down. It's fun. And even sort of as the kids come in, if they join maybe, say, in grade 7, like by the time they're in grade 12, they're sounding great. They're really, they get better fast, and it's good for everybody.